What did the panel think of Trump's stint as fry cooker at McDonald's? And it's, I already addressed this, it's like, they see him differently.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I think when you have somebody who is a world famous superstar, who's a billionaire, et cetera, and they do something you don't expect, it's brilliant media. And I think we gotta acknowledge that this guy is beating the pants off of us with these so-called publicity stunts. It gets into everybody's feeds, and people who are not looking at politics will look at that. I think we just have to have more fun ourselves. We were having a great time during the Democratic convention. If we have more fun, if the Democratic Party is a party of fun, people will join it. We should be doing crazy stuff too.
Bill Maher recently sparked intense discussion during a debate where he confronted a guest over a particularly woke stance that left the studio abuzz. True to his candid style, Ma challenged the guest perspective, pushing them to eventually backtrack and acknowledge the weaknesses in their argument. This exchange showcases a moment where even Jones, a seasoned candid analyst, was surprised by Ma's pushback. In a dialogue that touches on a range of pressing topics, Ma's probing questions reveal what he sees as hypocrisy in certain woke positions, advocating instead for a balanced perspective. The debate, hailed as a defining moment, showcases Ma's skill in using relentless questioning to expose the limitations of oversimplified narratives. Watch the full discussion to witness how Ma's challenging questions guide his guest to reconsider their stance in real time.
All right, for the panel, what does the panel think of Trump doing Joe Rogan's podcast today, and is it a mistake for Kamala not to do it? I think it is a mistake. I think it's a mistake she didn't do this show.
Yeah, did you invite her? Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. No, we didn't invite her.
Of course you should.
We would have bumped you for her. I hate to say it.
I think there's still time, I hope, and I know she's going to be campaigning in Texas. I hope she does the podcast. I think the more people see of Kamala Harris, the more they like her. She needs to get out there. I think some of that is a staff reticence that they had because of Joe Biden, which you couldn't put out there. We understand that. You can put her out there. She's terrific. She's likable. She's joyous. She's fun. She's clever. Get her out there.
Things got tense when the topic of Donald Trump and Joe Rogan's podcast came up. As the conversation progressed, Ma felt compelled to challenge Jones, whose views he found increasingly woke and, in Ma's view, out of touch. Known for his blunt, direct approach, Ma pushed back against Jones' views, eventually shutting him down for what Ma saw as his drift toward extreme positions.
For a guy who's not an official surrogate, you're on the waiting list. What did the panel think of Trump's stint as fry cooker at McDonald's? And it's, I already addressed this, it's like, they see him differently.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I think when you have somebody who is a world famous superstar, who's a billionaire, et cetera, and they do something you don't expect, it's brilliant media. And I think we gotta acknowledge that this guy is beating the pants off of us with these so-called publicity stunts. It gets into everybody's feeds, and people who are not looking at politics will look at that. I think we just have to have more fun ourselves. We were having a great time during the Democratic convention. If we have more fun, if the Democratic Party is a party of fun, people will join it. We should be doing crazy stuff too.
And if I might add one more thing. It's like, don't immediately just go to, I hate him for that.
Yeah.
Which is but everybody I know here in Hollywood does that. And it's like, you're first of all, you look weak. You look weak. You look like you're so easily gotten.
Yes.
You look like you overreact to anything. I think politics comes out of personality. I'm going to do something extensive on this one day, but personalities. Your personality first. I know people who are conservative politically because I know them. That's just who they are.
Yeah.
They're squares. and that's okay. And there are people who just, they think Trump is fun like that. I don't get it, but I don't get Taylor Swift.
She's classy? Oh, this is crazy. The Democrats will eventually pay the price. People are turning away not because of policies or rhetoric or even ideas, but simply because the Democratic playbook is so tired. It's asking for hate and anger to boil over and turn you against anyone who doesn't agree with you completely, and most of all, to make people angry and leave. If there's ever going to be a leader who stirs up real resistance, I don't think it'll be some extreme authoritarian. Instead, it could very well be someone like Kamala Harris, whose personality and style might irritate enough people to trigger serious pushback. Now, I'd never support anything violent or extreme, of course, but Harris's approach does get under my skin in a way that few politicians do. Like I said, if anyone's leadership is going to inspire backlash, it'll be someone like her, not a classic authoritarian figure.
Not that I'm comparing them, but I'm just saying.
I bet you would have bumped me for Taylor Swift too.
What's this?
You would have bumped me for Taylor Swift.
Oh, and I'm.
Exactly.
Of course I would.
Everybody else is turning you down.
I'd bump Kamala for Taylor Swift. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree with you.
She's a classy person, and the success she's had, the influence she's had is amazing. I just,
Not your cup of tea.
Nikki Glaser was doing my podcast, and I said, I don't get this, Nikki. You've been to 18 concerts. Tell me. And she's like, the music is so amazing. And she said, just watch the Eras tour. It's a 3-hour thing on Apple, I think. And I did not move the needle at all. This is not great music. To me, but that's just me. I don't get her music. And I don't think Trump's jokes about Arnold Palmer's dick are funny, but other people do. It's not relevant.
So for those of us who love Taylor Swift, and I'm a big Swiftie, that is some of the fun that Kamala Harris is bringing into politics. So I did a Swifties for Kamala kickoff in Nevada where I was just campaigning for her. We got all this energy, exchanging friendship bracelets and having fun. So there's a lot of joy there, Bill. And I'll give you your friendship bracelet.
Honestly, I find it hard to believe when people say they don't find Donald Trump even a bit charming. Even if you disagree with everything he says, there's something about his style that can be unexpectedly entertaining. There are plenty of people I disagree with whose views make me cringe, but their delivery or personality still manages to be funny or endearing. I just can't buy that someone could dislike Trump so much that they can't acknowledge he has some charm. Even if you hate everything he stands for, there's a certain humor in the way he talks, often unintentionally. I think objectively he just has that funny, larger-than-life quality that's hard not to notice.
I'm not knock yourself out. I love all the joy and all the everything that, she does great stuff, but, I just don't get the music. All right. What are your thoughts on the Menendez brothers' potential being released on parole? And is it a positive sign for proponents of criminal justice reform?
I'll be honest, I don't have much interest in the Menendez brothers, but the idea of Kamala Harris going on Joe Rogan's podcast is pretty wild. Harris hasn't been making many public appearances lately. Sure, she's doing some small rallies, but there's been backlash over her bait and switch moves, like inviting Beyonce to her events and then not actually having her perform. People are showing up just to see Beyonce and are understandably upset when she doesn't appear. It seems like Harris is avoiding big public appearances and interviews because, honestly, the more she's in the spotlight, the more her approval drops. Personally, it drives me crazy. Harris has that turned up to the max, which is probably why she's been staying out of the public eye. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you all think about Bill Maher's recent interview with Van Jones and his comments on Jared Polis, who, by the way, looks and acts strikingly similar to Tim Walz. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on this episode of Real Time with Bill Maher. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to continue watching the next interesting videos.